Hollow Knight All Skills Tournament. Today we have a current patch match between Oko and ins0mnia. Both these runners have PBs that are pretty close together and also lots of opportunity to time save, so I would expect a really great race here. I am Herm, and I'll be commentating today. Joining me on the mic is Jenkar.
Hello. So I'm just going to start the countdown, and ins0mnia is ready. And yeah, we'll get started.
All right. Yes, so we'll be starting soon, and I know there's a question about like what current patch. Obviously, there have been some beta patches released. We are still on 1.432, which is the most recent non-beta patch. So we'll be pointing out along the way the differences between this match and other matches which run on patch 1.2.2.1, which has some notable differences that make the run a little bit faster. But this current patch version is going to be super interesting and will provide some cool tricks for us to look at, because we can't do certain things that we do on 1.2.2.1.
Yeah, there's also a lot of rerouting. Oko is going to need just a second. There's also a lot of rerouting that's necessary because
I know there's a question about like what current patch. Obviously, there have been some beta patches
give you access to like level skips, so it's routed much later.
The most recent
and so that
patch. So we'll be pointing out along the way the
makes the
differences
geo
between
collection much different.
Match and I think the chat is pointing out we're getting an echo. Jenkar, is your stream unmuted? A little bit faster, but this current patch version is going to be super interesting and will provide some cool tricks for us to look at.
My screen should be muted. Yeah, there's also a lot of rerouting.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I think we are having an issue with echoes. Oh, it's one of the runners, it's looking like.
Give you access to like level skips.
Okay, so let's switch audio.
And so that
this should fix it. Yeah.
Makes the geo collection much different.
Okay, we're switching to ins0mnia's audio. That should fix it. Yeah, to me it sounds like we're good. So yeah, we'll just go with that, and then if echo continues or we keep having technical difficulties, simply let us know and we'll be on it. But thanks for pointing that out, folks. Obviously we don't want you guys to, I mean, as lovely as our commentary may be or may not be, we don't want you guys to have to constantly hear us twice. I think that might be a bit painful.
Yeah. Okay, Oko is telling us he has muted his audio, so not to switch to his audio during the run.
Okay, fabulous. Yeah, just a few other housekeeping things. Both of these runners have very respectable PBs in current patch. Obviously, we're not looking at a time as fast in 1.2.2 as what we have in 1.2.2.1, but both of these runners notably have PBs that involve them dying multiple times to a boss. ins0mnia PB'd last night and died twice to THK in that run, while still shaving off a huge amount of time. And also, Oko's PB involves 2 deaths to Hornet 2, so either of these runners, if they execute things cleanly or at least with fewer deaths than they have, could see really big time saves today, which would be super exciting. And obviously, with what we've seen so far in the race, anything can happen. A death anywhere could be really turning the tide of the race, and so we'll be following that as well.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen also that, like Oko, you were saying, had like a dev to Hornet 2, so we might see some safety benches throughout the run.
Yes, certainly. Somebody asked about Oko's PB. It is currently, with those deaths, 104.01. And it looks like we'll be starting out. Brief note, we do run the game in simplified Chinese, just like a lot of speed runs run in a preferred language where the text scrolls fastest, and that's what we have for Hollow Knight. So they'll be mashing through some cutscenes here, and then we'll get started, and you will experience the pain of the lack of an inventory drop, which is one of the notable things about current patch.
Yeah, Watching some of ins0mnia's talk about the TP, he said that a lot of the early game of the old skills LEPs feels a bit, well, slower than in 1-1. In part due to that. In part due to the fact that you also have to deal with a double the boulder RNG.
Yes, it is tough. Normally in 1-2-1 runs, you can sort of creep off screen and get the second boulder out of the way without having to deal with any RNG. But later on, we'll see them actually fighting that boulder. And right now, we'll just proceed through King's Pass, the little tutorial area, one of the most popular individual levels to be run. And they'll make their way on out and head into the real world of Dirtmouth. Oh, that might be a freeze from ins0mnia. Oh, it's a they're lag. Yeah, okay, we're good. Sync. Thank you, SpeedGaming folks, for that.
Yeah, so about that King Pass, Ohko actually managed to get the softball early on. However, it's not a big time diff between them.
Yeah, they look pretty similar heading into Dirtmouth right now. And so we'll see them head on around into Crossroads. The routing here is going to be pretty similar to your average 1-2-2-1, just with more hard falls and a little bit of slowdown because of that. But this part of the run, it's just about clean execution and getting places. Later on, we're going to see a lot more excitement with some fancy tricks, but for now, living our truth.
Yeah. About the hard falls, one of the things that I learned relatively recently is that apparently in current patch, the opening and closing of infantry is much smoother. And so to cancel hard falls, and I think we saw somebody do this at the start of Dirtmouth, you can actually open and close your infantry in quick succession, and it will be faster than just taking the hard fall.
Yes, that is very true, and it's a nice optimization. Overall, current patch runners have worked very hard to make their patch work for the speedrun, and they're still pulling off things like, I will remark, that was a really nice double spike from both runners we saw in the Aspid arena. And so, yes, now they'll be heading up towards False Knight, which is the first boss we'll be kind of fighting, except not really, because we're going to run away from him and get our first spell.
And then never visit him again.
Yes, we will not come back. We will not get the city crest or say hi to his much stronger form, Veiled Champion. We are out of here.
Or to the little maggots that are next to it.
Oh, yes. And so here we're just hoping for, it's 13 hits to get him down and then 8 on his face. You will see the runners just try to get as much in as possible to make this really fast. And look at that with Ohko picking up some of that Geo.
Yeah.
Very nice.
They both got the good RNG where False Knight jumps over your head and you can just whack him a lot in that phase, and like have to deal only with one jump. Sometimes False Knight RNG can lead to him jumping backwards, and there's ways to deal with that, but it's always a bit slow. And
yeah, thankfully very good RNG for both runners. It's kind of nice to see that they've both been executing things well in the same way, both getting that double spike, both getting that something taking a second to hop on that ledge.
Yeah,
that False Knight RNG. Yeah.
Those are definitely hard jumps to nail. Like they look easy, but you want to nail them rather precisely, and it's very common to just fail the jump and several times in a row because you're misjudging the jump height. For some reason, especially on these.
I mean, jumping is an underrated trick in terms of difficulty. You have to watch out for it because in the end, if you don't pull off the jump, it's hard to get many places in Hollow Knight. But now they'll both be heading into Ancestral Mound, where we will see the use of our little Vengeful Spirit spell, in addition to some nice movement that both of them will be pulling off here.
ins0mnia already using the Vengeful Spirit to break the planks right at the start.
Yes, it is. Sometimes it's just the excitement of getting that spell, and it's like a few spits from each, but pretty good RNG grouped together on each part, nothing too troublesome.
Yep. A really good thing. We had a race relatively recently where a runner got 11 spits, and that can always be a bit infuriating.
Yeah, that is never fun. It's the spits, it's the parries that we'll be seeing later on in some of these fights. Those can be just so brutal and really throw you out of it. So hopefully neither of these runners will suffer through a ton of spits on this next boulder.
Ins0mnia failing the soul collection,
Yeah.
that can be a bit painful because you really need those 3 fireballs to deal with the next boulder.
Yeah, it is one of those things where in 1221 you're sort of looking for that soul, like, hey, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna do this fireball skip, all this stuff which ins0mnia does go for and get. But in current patch, you're a lot more worried about just getting through that boulder simply because you need those four fireballs to do so.
You got blessed with the first spit on that boulder. It gives you
Yeah,
like
that was quite nice.
Well, the second spit technically, first spit.
And so now we're going to be seeing some more of those fireball skips. You'll see throughout Green Path, the runners are going to be very mindful of their soul collection, as both of them, well, Ohko got his and ins0mnia will go for it now, and does kind of miss it, doesn't turn around very much, but we're using the knockback from that fireball to stall us in the air and just push us a little bit to fake having a dash. Hornet will stand over there being like, I'm so cool, I can dash, and we use our spell to get around.
Yeah. On the second one that Ohko just pulled off, there's an additional difficulty in that you have to deal with the fact that there's a platform in front of you that you can bonk into. And if you do, you will not be able to get that.
Yes.
ins0mnia also getting the Husk Pogo, a nice backup that's much more consistent in current patch.
Yeah, very clean backup strat. And you'll see, as Ohko just did and as ins0mnia's about to do, they go fight this Moss Knight. You need to do it to get through this section of Green Path. It's just 3 fireballs and a nail hit. Easy breezy, and they're on along, continuing to carefully collect that soul as we're going to be heading towards Hornet 1.
And the Moss Knights on the way.
Oh yes, the famed all-skills Moss Knights. These runners will be needing to collect lots of Geo, and this is a good way to do it.
Yeah. The Moss Knights are actually a bit worse in current patch than in 1-1. In 1-1, there's like 2 positions for the second Moss Knight. He can be to the left or to the right. And in current patch, he will always be to the right.
Yes,
which
it
is
is
a bit
unfortunate. It's a bad RNG. Yes, people are remarking the current patch. Oh.
Yeah, ins0mnia getting bullied a little bit by the last Moss Knight there.
Yeah, that was a bit tough. But thankfully, he got through it all. He got his Geo. And yeah, as a few folks remarked in chat, the current patch bracket is significantly smaller than the 1-2-2-1 bracket. We have over 50 folks doing 1-2-2-1, I believe 10 here in current patch. So we're doing sort of a double elimination tournament here. And here's Hornet 1. These runners are looking for a very tight damage rotation, just trying to get those Shaws to be as few as possible by silencing her with damage. And Ohko's already through the fight and will pick up his dash.
Okay, ins0mnia managed to go for it.
Playing with our hearts right there.
Hornet also
a dash is a dash.
In current patch, she does get an extra hit to be done so that she can be staggered every time, which does not allow you to bully her as much as in 1-1.
Yes, it is indeed unfortunate for these runners, but thankfully, after this, there's no need to sort of worry about health. They save and quit back to this ancient ancestral mound, as both of them have done, and now they're going to be heading into fungal wastes, where we're going to go towards our mantis claw.
Yep. Fungal waste is an area I've always found the movement to be very precise. It's a bit less precise with the infantry drops in current patch, but there's still some stuff you can do that optimizes the movement that is, which ins0mnia just said, that is sometimes a bit difficult.
Yeah, and especially with the famed current patch ePogo that we're going to be heading towards, it's gonna be important for these runners to make sure that their setups are clean, as ePogo is not the same as it is on 1221 and takes a little more finesse than it does in the older patches.
We'll be wondering if we'll see any Pante Pogo from any of the runners going for the fancy damage strat, or if we'll just see some Vasians, which are always impressive. Just like it. And Ohko pulls off the Pante Pogo. Very nice.
Yeah, that was really nice. It looks like ins0mnia will finagle with his settings, which is really just quite acceptable. Gets hit, but in the end, that is all you need. And he'll be into Mantis Village. And now we're seeing Mantis Pogo. Ohko was attempting it right there. Basically, we're trying to avoid going around and losing 15 to 20 seconds, which is unfortunately what's happening to Ohko right now. But ins0mnia does get the Pogo, and that will put him in the lead.
Yes. Ohko did try to go for the backup on the taller Mantis. The adult Mantises actually have a different hitbox which you can poke off when they're not attacking, and you can use that to actually reach the platform without having to go all the way around. Unfortunately, he did not get it.
Yeah, it was wise to go for that backup strat, but in the end, yeah, folks are saying he's about 14 seconds behind now because of that. And yeah, I mean, Mantis Pogo is a very tough trick. Those mantises are super weird in the way they move around and stuff, so it is unfortunate, but there will be many, many opportunities for time save and time loss throughout the rest of this race. So now we're going to be heading over to get the one and only charm we're going to be using this run, which is Shaman Stone.
And a lot of difference from 1221. On the way, they will be able to pick up the crossroads tags. This is something that they can do because of the fact that they don't have to save up every single geo they have for dash slash in the split. So
Yes.
they can spend a lot more.
That is one of the biggest differences that you'll notice between 1221 and current patch, and very, very nice Grud's kill from ins0mnia, is that we save dash slash where we get scammed by Nailmaster Oro for the very end, as we cannot lever skip in the same way we do in 1221. So that geo, that 800 geo, is not something that is imperative early in the run in the same way that it is in the 1221.
Both runners having a clean up on the little babies.
Yes, and this is our good friend Salubra, who will sell us the Shaman Stone for 220 geo. It is a really great charm that beefs up all of our spells and will be the bread and butter of us getting damaged. And now we also have to save Sly in this run because, unfortunately, due to the lack of those lever skips, we cannot lever skip into Shade Soul. And so we have to get Sly, get Shop Key, and then get Elegant Key from Sly to access that skill. And now both runners are going to be damage tanking to die into that Shade Skip.
ins0mnia missing the pogo, getting bullied by a spell, but managing to pull it off.
Yeah, his shade was quite mean to him there, but in the end, still had that good execution. And now both runners will be dashing across the beautiful, scenic blue lake, 11 seconds apart, according to chat.
Oh, ins0mnia going for the soul totem there, narrowly missing it.
Yeah, quite unfortunate. You can hit it through the floor. It is one of those things in Hollow Knight where you're like, huh, I can do that, but did not quite get it. And that's okay. It's no harm, no foul here. We're just heading into Right City, where we will, in the fashion of any all skills run and many other categories in Hollow Knight, go say hi to and kill the gorgeous husk.
The extra soul from totem having a little bit of importance for killing the little enemies on the city, just to gather some extra geo on the way.
Yeah, we are in the rich part of city, so those enemies have lots on them and are pretty decent to farm, as you see Oko going through that whole row. And now we'll fight the gorgeous husk, which drops a very, very dank 420 geo.
ins0mnia managing to get every single double possible.
Yes, that was quite impressive.
We really do love to see it.
Really nice execution there. And so at this point, we are going to be heading up and around into Soul Sanctum, as we still need dive. We're not going to be seeing Shade Soul, but we do need dive to get into Crystal Peaks, which is obviously a very important area of the run with a movement ability and a spell upgrade. But both of them will, it's like Oko's, yeah, taking a bench first. And then they're going to have to fight this little arena.
Only Oko went for the bench. ins0mnia decided to completely skip it, which can be a little bit dangerous, especially in a tournament setting. That Great House Sentry can definitely be a big bullet.
Yeah, this is a little DLC arena we don't see in 1.2.2.1 because of some lever skips, but yeah, that Great House Sentry has a ton of health and deals 2 mask damage, and that little flying guy can get you too, so, and that's a death. Yeah, ins0mnia played it risky, and unfortunately it did not pay off. And the real repercussion of this here is that he will have to, by shade skipping, lose all his geo, which is really, really not great, because all that farming he just did and was going to do is, yeah, people are pointing out he's gonna have to go for some serious backup strats here and probably end up going and getting relics and selling to them.
Yeah, that would probably be the smartest option there.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about relics is they are super great in the amount of geo they provide, but it is a big trip out of the way into the other side of city that we don't even touch in this run. So that is a pretty painful death for ins0mnia right there. And here's Oko showing us the pain of Soul Sanctum.
Especially since without lever skips, they are going to have to deal with some of the most annoying rooms, like this one, just one of them. And because they are not yet able to have Shade Soul, they will also have to deal with enemies with just Shaman Vengeful Spirit, which can be a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, in the deal here is that, well, most of those enemies can collapse under the hits of our Shade Soul, especially Shade Soul doubles. You're going to see Oko fight Soulmaster coming up, and that's a boss that we can absolutely obliterate in 1.2.2.1 because a double hit with Shade Soul is doing 80 damage. But here, our VS, even with Shaman, only does 20, and ooh, that is a death for Oko as well. I mean, those Soul Twisters are no joke. But thankfully, is that Watcher's Spire bench.
Exactly, it's still a less painful death than ins0mnia's. If Oko dies again, it will balance the scales, but I kind of doubt that.
Yeah. And you just saw Insomnia head above King Station to grab that Hallownest seal. That is a relic worth 450 geo, so it's a pretty nice pickup, but still, that alternate routing gives Oko a significant lead even with a death.
Doesn't Insomnia need at least one more relic to make up for the geo he just lost? That way he can
I
just
believe he
farm.
does. I'm not sure though.
Deciding to grab the safety bench.
Yeah, that is a very fair decision. And probably one he wished he had made last time. Yeah, I see people asking. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the best relic he could go for right now would be in Soul Sanctum after Soul Master. There's Wondrous Journal under one
The seal. I believe it's a seal. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty
cool.
sure. So that would be really good for Somni. And I see people in chat asking about Lantern. Yes, there's no Lantern in all skills. We are looking for E key, and that's another death for Somni. But thankfully, that relic does not disappear, and he has the bench, so it's not as big of a deal at all.
He got hit once again by the backswings. The attack from those Great House Sentry does hit quite big backwards, and it's very deceiving sometimes. Meanwhile, Oko is fighting Soulmaster and managing to inflict quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately,
yeah, this is looking quite clean so far. Soulmaster has lots of health, but Oko is doing a very good job of getting those hits in.
He got the swag Fawn's hit.
Oh, that was very nice.
It actually does more damage than a Shade Soul. I believe it's 50 damage from the spikes.
Yeah. That is excellent. Excellent work. And now we're gonna see the fake out, which, I don't know, got me the first time. Fool me once. Yeah, I'm on my first playthrough. Fool me more than that. I'm not really a speedrunner at all. Because these runners just sort of bust through that health pool that Soulmaster has in the second phase. It's very, very low, and Oko will pick up his dive as Somni does make it to the sweet, sweet shores of Soul Sanctum.
Yeah, so quite a bit of difference in time between the runners. The devs Insomnia definitely are going to hold him for a bit.
Yes, especially considering Oko does not have to deal with picking up relics, which will continue to be a deal for Somni. But we will get this very, very nice geo chest, 380 geo, as we head out, because it's quite nice and quite convenient, and that's very helpful. But yeah, there's the seal that Somni can pick up if he chooses to.
I don't think that's going to be one of the most efficient relics anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to see the decisions. I know that Somni is a very experienced rando player, so he knows his relic locations quite well, though Oko is also a rando player of his own, so hopefully that knowledge of here are all the places I could possibly find a Hallownest seal or a journal will come in handy.
Yes. Also, something we did not comment on when Oko was going through, this room that Insomnia just finished is famously named the Hell Room because of the 3 Soul Twisters. In 1.1 you get to just skip over it, the level skip, but in current patch you actually have to go through the pain of having those teleporting bastards all around as you are trying desperately to jump around.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in chat talking about how Somni hates current patch, as many people do, and that is one of the reasons that current patch is not as popular, because going through that room and dealing with Soul Sanctum in its full power is no fun at all. But ins0mnia is having a nice Soulmaster fight thus far, so hopefully things will continue looking up for him.
Getting a really cool double for the kill.
Yeah, that was awesome. And here, Oko is going to be heading to the King Station Stag, which we'll buy. That's a 300 geosync. And then we're going to be heading into Crystal Peaks, which is another really terrible place to die, as there are several in this run. This is going to be involving a lot of really tight movement and also careful management of our health, though not as careful as in 1221 because we cannot do the early control at the end of the whole area.
Although it is possible to bait Crystal. Dang, I forgot the name.
A Crystal Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah, a Crystal Hunter to shoot a crystal at you while you're in the pickup animation.
Yes, that is very true. And I'm seeing chat ask us to switch audio to Oko. I will do so, as he is definitively in the lead at this point. Yeah, it looks like timing-wise, it's about 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Just Oko has to cut off his audio to not
Oh wait,
cause a problem.
is the echo still there?
Yeah.
Oh, the echo's still there. Yeah, I'll switch it back. Oh no. I thought it was fixed. Oh, sorry about that.
No, he said he will. He's okay with not having his audio on.
Okay, very good.
Oh no.
Oh, ins0mnia. Oh boy, that would be tragic. The number of follies chasing him there was absurd. That's gotta be like 6 or 7. Thankfully, due to that nicely placed soul totem, he will get a heal in. That was quite scary.
Very. The follies movement speed is one of the things in Hornet that's frame rate dependent, and I believe the ins0mnia has quite a nice frame rate, which is very unfortunate in that situation because you have follies moving at ludicrous speeds.
Yeah, they're going like 200 miles per hour, and I see chat pointing it out. Like, I hope he's capped his frames, and yeah, the guess is no on what we're seeing. And here is Oko grabbing Shopkeeper's Key. That's the current patch special. He will later trade that key in along with, I believe, 900 geo for the elegant key that lets him into the Shade Soul room.
It is 800. Same cost as
800. There you go. Yes, I am not an elegant key aficionado, so the number is much appreciated. And there's the cell to Lem, and it looks like ins0mnia is quite fine on Geo at this point, which is likely a moment of relief for him after a pretty tumultuous segment right there.
Meanwhile, Oko is at full health, yet he goes for damage cycle in this room.
Yes, you can do the damage tank cycle or the damageless. Damage tank is a bit faster and also a beautiful underplat, so that was a really good movement to Crystal Heart. You always love to see the underplat right there, so yes, very clean overall, and he will pick up Crystal Heart, which is our super dash ability.
And then move on to go through the dark room towards Descended Dark. One thing to note is the hunters are a lot buffed in current patch.
Yes.
And it can be a little problematic for the dark room if you're not fast enough. It's also a bit problematic to farm soul before the dark room.
Yeah, they are a lot freeing the grub, very good. They are a lot worse on this patch. As somebody who did her first playthrough on Switch, it was a brutal time dealing with those folks, and it looks like Oko's doing the C-Dash Dark Room, hoping to evade those hunters, because they are vicious, and those projectiles stay on the ground for so much longer than you want them to. But thankfully, even with that being the case, Oko gets through the dark room and will head into Crystallized Mound to grab Descending Dark. Looks like ins0mnia took a fall. Or, no, he's going up. I just got confused. Yep, and we'll see Oko grab Descending Dark, which is basically the end of peaks as ins0mnia enters. So I would put them at approximately 1 crystal peaks apart, if that can be a unit of measurement in this case. So we'll see how things go. Yeah, I think we should adopt that as an official unit of measurement.
Okay, going for the infantry drop there. It's quite finicky. The ledges often don't align with the graphics for them, and so it's very hard to actually know exactly where you step off.
Yeah, CP inventory drops, as are many of the adaptations of Speed Tech Intercurrent patch, are just incredibly precise yet also odd. So it's just, if they get them, it's cool. If they don't, it's not something you're gonna go home over, because in the end, it's just so much more difficult than what you have on 1221.
Yep. In this category, the dive actually offers a really good alternative to infantry drops, and later on, Cyclone will also be used a bit more extensively for the same reason.
Cyclone is actually good enough that you'll even see it used at some points in 1221 for drops, so thankfully we will be able to do that and help out some of our speed. It looks like ins0mnia is going for damage tank cycle, but had sort of a dicey moment there.
Still on cycle, it looks like.
Yes, and he gets the underplat, so we're really just winning all day here. And we get to Resting Grounds and the Resting Grounds Stag. Oko now has his Dream Nail, which is sort of, I mean, the nail is our typical weapon in Hollow Knight, but the Dream Nail is our plot weapon, as it allows us to access the dreamers we need to kill in order to say hi to our buddy and the titular character, the Hollow Knight. It's a 3-minute differential, 3.5 minutes at this point. Thank you so much, Frixian, for keeping those times. It is very helpful for us on comms.
It's very appreciated. Okay, remembering to buy the key on the way to Cyclone.
Yes, that is the big brain move, is remembering the items you need to buy, because frankly, it can be a bit tough. And now we're going to see King's Pass again, except this time with a lot more speed, as we head up to Howling Cliffs for that beautiful Cyclone Slash that we were just discussing.
Yeah. Because of its usefulness, I believe it's routed much earlier in the run than in 1-1.
An unfortunate hit on the spikes there from Oko. But yes, we get Cyclone Slash a lot earlier than we do in 1221 here. Just because in 1221 you already have inventory drops, getting Cyclone is not that much of a big deal, but here it makes a lot more sense to just sort of head over and get it, because Howling Cliffs is not an area that we really frequent for any other purpose, so it's just something you can sort of decide to get earlier, and it's helpful in this category to do so.
And it wraps nicely with the key buy from Sai.
Yes.
Especially since right after this, they're going to go on a very big boss spree, and having that's why they get the key this early on. At this point in time, and yeah.
We saw a lovely bow from Oko to Nailmaster motto right there. That is much appreciated. We love to see the respect for the Nailmasters. But yeah, what we're going to see right now, as Jen just said, big boss spree. This is where things can get really great or really dangerous. And we really need that Shade Soul just because it is such a huge upgrade to our Vengeful Spirit. It gets way better for double hits with the Shaman Stone, so it can allow us to deal 80 damage at a time with those doubles, and it is just really what we need. Descending Dark is a great spell that we're going to see used on the Watcher Knights fight primarily, but Shade Soul is going to be so versatile and just so helpful through all parts of the run. So you'll see Oko fighting a Soul Warrior here to obtain it.
Ooh, starting with Cyclone. That's actually really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, the swaggy Cyclone Slash right there.
Those dives are also, yeah, those Descending Darks were really nice. All in all, a really good fight.
Yeah, really nice. In the end, that Soul Warrior is not the most formidable foe when you have another upgraded spell going in. But it is good that we have that first, because going in only nail 0 is really not fun. But yeah, people are pointing out as well, good patterns really help that fight be nice and clean.
Oh, definitely. The teleportation from the enemy can definitely be very annoying, especially if it decides to go for a lot of dives.
Yeah, Soul Warrior is one of my least favorite enemies in any setting to fight. Just not very fun, can just be annoying with that teleporting, but thankfully outside of Godhome they don't have too much health, so they're not too much to deal with. And Oko now will head up and fight the famed Watcher Knights, knocking down that chandelier with a nice Shade Soul, so that he only has to fight 5 of them instead of 6. And then yes, there's an example of those Cyclone drops.
Yeah, calling of the elevator too, using the Cyclone.
Yes. And we can dream nail those guys before the fight, which is super helpful, and then they just die in, I believe, it's 2.5 or 2.25 D-Darks a piece. And so we'll hope for good RNG, being able to bunch them together and have them slash, so there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. One of the big differences with 1-1 is that you cannot chain D-Darks into each other. And so they will have to move it out of the way before they do another T-Dark.
Yes, and that is unfortunate and does require some more sort of awareness with dodging, but thankfully due to Descending Dark's gratuitous iframes, this fight is still nowhere near as scary as what you see in any percent Watcher Knights, where you have a vengeful spirit and your faith in whatever deity you do or don't pray to.
Oh, that's interesting. Getting the Geo chest on the way up.
Yeah, no, interesting choice, but in the end, Oko does have a lot of breathing room with his lead, and so he's probably able to make those choices on the fly pretty easily. But according to chat, ins0mnia has caught up 20 seconds, so even though the lead is still quite wide,
Somebody just realizing
he doesn't have Shade Soul.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Holy cow!
You can see the realization.
He's still doing it. I mean, I admire that. You know, that is some courage right there to say, yeah, okay. I mean, in the end, Shade Soul is not the primary spell for this fight, but did anybody catch, because I can't remember, I think I was watching Oko's stream at the time, did he buy Iki? I think he did.
He did buy.
He seems to be down that much Geo. Okay, well that much is good. Yeah, he must have just been on autopilot or something, heading in there.
You will have to get it right after Watch Nights. That was really good Watch Nights.
That was really great. Yeah. Somni's play, even with that little whoops, I guess I forgot Shade Soul, has been really clean so far. And he's trekking even though he had that terrible series of events earlier. And so now we're pretty much done with City for the rest of this time, and we're going to be heading down into what is undoubtedly one of the more difficult and also intimidating parts of the run. You're going to see a series of very precise tricks, the first being this spike tunnel that Ohko just did second try, very good work from him. And then 2 acid skips as we want to get into Isma's Grove without having to get a simple key, go to waterways, fight the dung defender, and do all of that stuff. So that was first try on the second acid skip, and we'll see how the third goes. Yeah, that was really great from Ohko. Super, super clean.
And getting the worm to cooperate for the isthmus grab. One of the few things that the current patch has over 1-1 is the fact that the spike tunnel is a little bit easier due to the spikes not lagging you out when you hit them.
Yes, and that is very nice because that spike tunnel is very terrible, and not only is it a challenge in its precision on execution, but it's also just a challenge psychologically. If you can't get in there, you're not even going to be able to attempt those other 2 acid skips, and so it can be a wall in-game and also a mental wall for these players. Now we're heading into the Ancient Basin on Ohko's screen. We're gonna go fight the Broken Vessel, which has actually funny story for me is that both races I've commentated so far have seen a runner die to the Broken Vessel. So let's hope that third time is a charm, and we're not gonna see that anymore, because it is unfortunately a long walk back. You don't open that shortcut because it takes a lot of time, but we will have to be sea dashing through some Maulurks and praying for some very nice RNG.
Meanwhile, ins0mnia going for the Shade Soul, he forgot. Grabbing the Watcher bench to be able to at least cut down on that walk back.
Yes, that's very nice, because in the end, all of the Dreamers, and here we go from Ohko. Ohko is obtaining what we call in Rando, Basin Simple Claw. And to explain that to the uninitiated, Basin Simple Key is a famed location to find progression in a Hollow Knight randomizer seed, to the point that it has been dubbed Basin Simple Claw. And this is just a randomizer reference that I, as somebody who has watched almost the entire Rando tournament, truly love to see. So very good play from Ohko. That just made my day.
I must have heard you talking about the deaths that happen to Broken Vessel every single time, deciding to open the shortcut, just in case.
Yes, also, I mean, very fair.
Also, ins0mnia getting a little bit bullied by the Soul War, but managing to pull through.
Yes. Good work by Somni, getting his Shade Soul. And yeah, Ohko was not walking into that fight, like, fully equipped, sort of health-wise or soul-wise, so that shortcut may be a good choice considering his current situation on 1 mask. I started that sentence and he was on 2 masks. Well, he got this, yeah. Let's go. Let's not go, apparently. Dang. Yeah, third time was not a charm. They talk about the commentator's curse being something you do in words, but it may just be that I have damned the runners to die to BV at least once. But hey, he's got that shortcut open, and that's really what you like to see.
Yep.
Somni creeping down. Oh, unfortunate dunk.
still pretty good. Nailing both the spike tunnel and the first asset skip without a problem.
Yeah, in the end, considering just how much time you can lose, or even in most unfortunate situations, with only 5 masks, you can end up taking an unfortunate death, and none of the above has happened here, so I think it just goes to show the impressive execution and sort of command of these skips that both runners have.
That's especially difficult to deal with because it's really hard to get your shade back, especially after the first few skips. And if you do die a second time, you have a lot of geo to make you back.
Yes, that is very true. As we've seen already this race, losing your geo is nothing short of catastrophic at a point. But thankfully, ins0mnia is, I mean, on the right path. They're still about 3.5 minutes apart, but ins0mnia is heading into Basin, and Ohko now has his Monarch wings and will be heading to Hidden Station. They are now one ancient basin apart. A new unit of measurement, one ancient basin.
Probably equal to one Crystal Peak.
Yeah, I would say about the same with Ohko's death and stuff. The little look down that he did is something that we're able to do on all patches. Just makes the toll go up faster. And now he will stag back to Durban.
Fun fact that
Wait.
I learned
Yeah, okay, I was confused, sorry. No, go on.
Yeah, fun fact that I learned rather recently, you can also do that for tall benches. And unfortunately, you can't see if it worked, and you just have to try and sit on the bench early.
Yeah. It is tough, and with those toll benches, since we use a loadless timer, sometimes it's just better to leave the room and keep the time low.
It does look really cool though.
Yes, it is so fun to see that pop up and be like, yeah, I'm fast. And here's Broken Vessel. I love the Broken Vessel music. So we can all enjoy it, have a lovely listening session. We'll probably be short with the speedy skill set that ins0mnia has.
Yep, really fast fight.
Yes.
And ins0mnia decided not to go for a shortcut, which is also going to save him a little bit of time.
Yes. We'll see Ohko enter the Teacher's Archives, which is the home of our second dreamer, Monomon the Teacher. Umu on this patch is quite different. Lots of different things. For one, its health is up from 250 to 300, so we cannot do the really fancy one-cycle setups that we do on 1-2-2-1. Because you need Shriek for that, and we get Shriek very last due to the way it is locked behind a ton of different things.
Well, yeah. There are a few setups for 1-2-1 for current patch one cycle, and there we go.
Oh wait, there
really
are.
Nice job for Ohko. There's two main setups, and Ohko just got one even, where you start with the D-Dark /, and because Umu in this patch has a lot more bounciness, it also gets doubled by Sheetzel a lot more effectively. And so you can just cancel it a lot.
Yes, so that is me learning things about Umu. Thank you for the educational moment. I think that I gotta learn more about those Umu setups because they're very interesting, but that was an impressive one cycle, and yeah, very cool how D-Dark is implemented to make that happen.
Yep. Another thing that that makes Umu a bit different is the bounciness also applies to Dreammail, though that is less of a thing in all skills. It plays a lot of a role in oh no, God, I'm sorry.
Yikes.
It plays a lot in other categories.
Ooh.
Just straight to fireball skip.
Yeah, that was quite the varying set of movements right there. It was a little showcase of look at all the different movement abilities I have. But it worked. So into Fog Canyon, Insomnia goes on one mask.
With 1 HP, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a much needed heal right there. They are, yes, Chad is saying there are one Fog Canyon apart, and it does seem that about 1.5 minutes were closed based on Oko's death.
Technically, the one teacher's a cut apart.
Yes, I think that is the more appropriate unit of measurement here because Oko is leaving just as Somni is entering. And now we're going to see some fun movement through Fog Canyon, an area renowned for its supreme enemy variety. A whole 3 different enemies, one of which is Umu. And we will exit out into the glory of beautiful green path.
Also making a small detour for the routing changes to kill a massive Morse charger. We will see
Yes.
We will not
This
see the
is
zero cycle.
one of the best Geo Rocks in the game. The Massive Moss Charger. It is different from most Geo Rocks in that it is alive. But it does not give runners much trouble and tends to be in a bingo setting the Radiant Boss of choice.
Insomnia are going to get an easy 2 cycle there. The Moth Charger can actually be a 0 cycled where you kill it as it is burrowing in the ground for the first time. Unfortunately, Oko's last fireball was a bit too slow for that.
Yes, we can hope for the 0 cycle from Somni. As I think, people talk so much about Umu 1 cycle, Umu 2 cycle, but really they should talk about Massive Moss Charger 0 cycle. And there we go. Oko will be platforming over to Nailmaster Shio, who is holding our Great Slash, which in this run is the second of our 3 nail arts. And it's nice and a good trip through a whole bunch of thorns to our painting friend.
Yes. Someone in chat mentioning that Insomnia might be actually able to skip over Massive Moss Charger. Because
that may be
his geo
true.
count from relics is actually kind of high.
Yeah, with those relics that he sold, because they are worth so much, I believe actually, based on what I just saw, that they have the exact same amount of geo with Oko having killed. Yeah, they do. They're synced on geo, so he can definitely skip over Massive Moss Charger. So we will not see a 0 cycle today unless he chooses to kill MMC anyway, due to all those relics. At least there is some silver lining to the dark cloud of that early death. Here's Queen's Gardens. We're going to be having a fun time. We cannot lever skip. Normally on 1221 we sort of go up into Fog Canyon and then lever skip into Queen's Gardens, but we can't do that here, so we'll just go up and around and head into Overgrown Mound, the last of the mounds, which holds Howling Wraiths, guarded behind an arena of not particularly strong mosquitoes.
Not strong, but very annoying, especially with that spike floor.
It is not, they're not going to do that much to you, but they are also not going to give you a fun time at all. But good execution from Oko. Yeah. take a heal because all spells, when obtained, refill your soul in this game. So wise of him to just use what he's got before it goes away. And there's Howling Wraiths, which is not good right now. It's not particularly useful in its base form, but when we get it upgraded, it will be an excellent source of damage.
Of all the non-upgraded spell, it is one of the strongest ones. Unfortunately, it has to compete with both Shade Soul and Ascending Dark right now, which is definitely not at its advantage. Insomnia did skip Massive Moss Charger, by the way.
Yes, that will certainly save him some time. Yeah, Howling Wraiths, while certainly good in terms of damage, can also be a bit awkward to use. And when we have Shade Soul at our disposal in an arena like this, which you'll see Oko fight through some Mantis Petra, it's no question so much easier to kill them by this way. And now you'll also see another current patch trick there. We cannot use the thorns to abuse hazard respawn and end up downstairs immediately, so we knock down a platform and C-dash across to skip most of the platforming.
Another current patch exclusive is that the Patriots have 5 more health, making them a bit more resistant than just a Shade Soul double.
Yes.
Sadly.
Mantis Petra are my least favorite enemy in the game, and that arena can be very painful, though thankfully with our upgraded spells it's not too ugly. And another time update from Rix. It looks like they are about 2 minutes apart, with 27 seconds closed by the fact that ins0mnia did not get Massive Moss Charger. And you'll see Oko going into the second dark room section, which is Dark Deep Nest, and that can be a whole fun time, especially if you get hit, because getting hit by a hazard in a dark room respawns you at the beginning. But things are looking good so far.
Yep. Doing the dive to get the little spiderling out of the way, just for extra safety. Also, I just saw ins0mnia has already 3 Dream Essence. Got very lucky with the essence drops all around.
Oh wow. That is funny stuff. Yeah, we do not use essence in this category at all because we do not consider Dreamgate or Awoken Dreamnail to be skills. Otherwise, we would just sort of be ripping a page from the true ending book. But that is certainly a sign of luck, as it's a 1 in 300 chance that you get an essence drop on any given hit. And here's our third dreamer. It's Hera the Beast, also known as Hornet's mother. And she is going to go far and away as her seal is broken. And now we will see some of the really exciting content of this run in the upcoming saying hello to her daughter after some other brief field trips.
Yep. Another thing of note for the end of the run is that we'll see a much faster THK than in 1.2.1, which can give some problems even with this upgraded arsenal that the runners will have at their disposition.
Yes, unfortunately THK was buffed a pretty significant amount across patches, and so things will be a little bit different. You'll see those, for example, one of his attacks will now deal 2 mass damage, and overall, yes, as Jin said, will be moving around a lot faster than before. But for now, Oko will stag out of Distant Village as ins0mnia heads through Dark Deep Nest. And we'll end up going towards the Kingdom's Edge, where we will finally get scammed by Nailmaster Oro.
Getting the dash slash. And then going to slide for an empty.
Yes. Oh, oh no. That is a very, very tough fall from ins0mnia.
No.
So essentially, the reason you really do not want to fall there is that to go up, you have to go through this sort of DLC dark room. That being said, due to ins0mnia's rando experience, he may have a little more practice with this than the average person, but is gonna take a death there, most
Yes,
unfortunately, as
that
we see
devout
Camp Bench from Oko.
that devout can definitely be a big problem if you're doing this from inventory. It is both
Yes.
very aggressive and just next to a ledge, so it will give you no respite.
Yeah, and the real unfortunate matter here is that there's an essence drop from Oko. He too is blessed. Is that ins0mnia has to go all the way back from Teacher's Archives, and this was yet another possible Herm curse in that in my last race that I commentated, we saw a similar death and a loss of Geo. So hopefully ins0mnia will be able to evade that, though with his shade in a very awkward location, things could get quite tough.
Yes, I do not know if the shade actually spawns above or below the section of that room that the runners normally go through.
Yeah, I'm really not sure as well. As it's really not a situation you're faced with most of the time if that's going to be happening to you in a run where you're sort of just going for a PB or something, you would reset at that point probably. But in a race, we can't do that obviously. So yeah, we'll get to learn some fun facts about shade locations here shortly.
Also, Oko going to finally fight Hornet 2. For that Kingsbrand to gain access to the last few skills required for the category.
Yes, and I see chat talking about losing all your geo. This was the very situation that happened to poor Serpent in my last race that I commentated. She went through Beasten and grinded a bunch of geo, including going into Dark Deep Nest for 1 geo. So if there's a will, there's a way. But hopefully it does not amount to that.
Meanwhile, Oko having an okay Hornet fight. Not too many parries, not too few either.
Yes, Hornet 2, due to her apparently magical half-higher being existence, can parry spells, which is beyond annoying for us as runners trying to conserve our soul. But so far, even on 1 mask, it looks like Oko will take a heal and continue to handle himself well against a boss that can really be quite the bully.
Yep. And managing to finish it off.
Yes, and so now we will see ins0mnia getting that geo from the Devout, and going to kill Hera as Oko gets his King's Brand. So I think I could characterize them at this point as about 1 Kingdom's Edge apart.
Exactly. A bit more actually, depending on
Yes.
if ins0mnia is going to be able to recuperate his geo. I believe, JB mentioned that you could go to kill the shade and then walk back to the diamond bench.
Yes, and that seems like it could be a pretty good strategy, simply because farming geo from Devouts in Beasten is just an incredibly unappetizing thing to do, and you want your shade back for that soul meter. So yes, it looks like that's the decision ins0mnia is going to make, and I would say a very wise one. Oh, thank you, chat. Yes, I can take this this moment to remark that chat is extremely cute, as are both of the runners today, and of course, co-commentator is always cute. So we're really winning right now.
Yep, everybody is winning. And ins0mnia managing to grab his shade back without dying a second time to devout.
Yes, very good. And now it's going to be, it should be a lot smoother from here. Hopefully no additional deaths going forward. But at this point, yeah, Oko will be heading down into the Abyss, where we pick up our upgraded Howling Wraiths, Abyss Shriek, as well as the Shade Cloak, which is our upgraded dash and provides some lovely iframes. And reading the lore tablet, very, very tasteful use of that time. I admire it.
Absolutely, yes. Also, we haven't seen them use that symbol key that they got earlier.
No, I am at this point a bit confused as to his plans with that simple key. I initially assumed it was just a haha basin simple claw, but I did see Quack in the chat mentioning that he has plans, so I'm not sure.
Oh, we are going to see another Quack situation potentially. From talking with ins0mnia earlier, there was talk that if this was near PB base, they would avoid the shenanigans that they had planned.
Yes, so that makes a lot of sense then. I mean, I think that, yeah, frankly, this looks like it could end up going quite well for Oko if he continues to play cleanly, considering he had no deaths to Hornet 2 or anything of the matter. So yes, perhaps we'll see shenanigans after the race, or just celebration. And there's that quit out. We quit out after Shade Cloak to save a little bit of time and not have to watch the knight sort of wriggle in the void. And he will return, and we do have a hard save, so we'll get to see more of the Abyss.
Going to grab that Abyss Tree on the way out.
Yes. And I see Quack in the chat talking about Oko's status as a known and confirmed Marissa defender. That is something you love to see. I am personally of the persuasion that ghosts should be left unharmed and should not be taken away from the world. So yes, it's looking like with this pace that we'll see an audience with Marissa after the run.
Yep, just checking, just checked on Oko's PB, and he is about 20 seconds ahead right now.
Yeah, that looks about right. And I think that, yeah, as long as the THK is good from here, it could be a really good PB, or at least close, for Oko. And yes, I do actually love to see an audience with Marissa.
Just to reassure Quack, I also love to see an audience with Marissa, ending with accepting her in our dream now. ins0mnia pulling off a wonderful graphical glitch of standing in the air.
It's the classic meme. It's over Hornet, I have the high ground. You do enjoy it.
Getting bullied in a response.
Yes, unfortunate. Maybe the high ground was not the proper ground to take, as ins0mnia dies to Hornet 2. But thankfully he has that camp bench.
I didn't want to say anything, but when you said hopefully we won't see any more deaths this race, I was sure there will be a death to Hornet 2.
Yes, that was quite the curse from me. But that was a very good swag kill on the Shade. And he will not take the high ground this time, perhaps a wiser decision.
Especially since you will not get the glitch the second time. It only happens because of the dialogue box.
Dialogue, yes. And here we go from Oko, heading into the infected crossroads. I wonder if we're going to see any black egg shenanigans. Yes, it looks like
Oh, too
an
bad.
attempted helicopter knight, but unfortunately did not get it.
I think it was going for the less commonly seen dash/knight, which I don't think
Yes.
has been named. I have yet to see
No, I
that
think that
in action.
perhaps a naming convention in the future for the dash/knight would be in order. And yeah, that's another death to Hornet 2 from ins0mnia. I really hit him with the commentator's curse, didn't I? As Oko heads into the Hollow Knight fight, and we wish him luck, or judging by how my commentating has been lately, I hope it's terrible and that the chain dies to THK.
I also hope it's terrible and he still manages to PB.
Yes. I believe in him, except maybe I don't. I'm not sure anymore what I'm supposed to say as a commentator. But yes, you'll see him using Abyss Shriek here. It's a bit awkward as it's like our up spell, but it is the best possible source of damage. If you get all hits in, it's 120.
Dive is also a lot more powerful in this patch than in 1-1, simply because THK will teleport and move around much more.
Yes, and you'll see those pillars that do 2 mass damage now also, unfortunately. Oh.
That was a nice cream skip.
Yeah, that was quite good. I mean, also just optimal time to be on one mask is right when the Hollow Knight starts damaging itself, because then you'll have an opportunity. This is a bit scary, but continuing through into the bullet hell attack.
That is a big opportunity for damage.
Yes.
If you know how to exploit the patterns, you can stay very safe there.
Yeah, and there's the 4th scream, the 3rd scream technically. Phase 4. But yeah, this looks like it will be a PB for Oko, so I think that it should be around high 130, low 140. Not 140 as in like, I am not using minutes. 103.40.
Yeah.
Yes, we got there. But really, really nice from Oko. That was an excellent run. Yeah, 103.38.99.
That is a huge PB. I think
yes,
that is actually a full
over
minute.
20 seconds. His current PB is 104.01, or current prior to this race. So you really do love to see a nice race PB. Excellent work from Oko right there. And so now I'm assuming from him we'll see a trek over to go say hi to Marissa. And of course, we will wait for ins0mnia to finish before we have our post-race interview with them both.
Oh, I believe ins0mnia is just going for another goal in mind. Deciding not to go for Hidden Station or and Void Spell, well, Abyss Shriek and Chain Cloak. And instead deciding to visit a dear Miner's friend and murder her in cold blood.
Yes, I am. In general, I am against. Yeah, and that seems like it's a GG from ins0mnia, but I did not appreciate the Mila kill. It's not necessary. Was not what we needed to see. But very well. I'll accept it for what it is. And so, yes, it looks like we'll mark them as done and bring them in for a post-race interview. Hey folks! Oh, we just have ins0mnia so far. Oko's joining.
GG.
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 Really, really tough Tough points. for
I'm
you.
so done with this patch.
GG's, Oko. Congrats on the
GG.
PB.
Thanks.
Big congrats.
Thanks all.
Yeah, GG on the PP, okay. That was really good. I was watching from... I had this stream up. It was a really good run.
Mm-hmm. It's like it still died twice, but yeah, no. It was a pretty good race for me. That I was pretty nervous to start, but
Yeah.
as the race went on, yeah, it got a bit easier. Shoutouts definitely to ins0mnia to actually continuing with that run. I would have been defeated if I died without losing all my geo.
Yeah, it kinda sucked. I haven't died to that Grace Toss Sentry in like literally at least a month. So that's always a
Yeah.
nice change of pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw you not taking the bench there, and we're like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
because I mean I've just
there
like
with the confidence.
never like taken more than like 2 damage there. So I'm like, yeah, this is fine. And then I just got backswinged 3 times. So
Yeah.
you know,
GG
Sometimes.
seriously taking it the second time around. To play around the second death to that
Wait, can
house.
you guys? Okay, there you go. Yeah, go ahead. Anything?
who?
Well, I mean, like, my early game was really nice. That was almost a consob, Vengeful Spirit.
Wow. That's
What was it?
That's awesome.
Low 344. If I didn't mess
Wow.
up the jump, it would have been a 343.
Jeez,
Really
Well,
good.
Yeah,
that's
you played
very
like-
admirable.
really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even with the I appreciate that you went and got base and simple claw, even if you didn't carry through with it, and that's a part of your PB. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I'm gonna go say hi to Marissa.
Ah,
Yeah, we really saw both sides of the coin today with going and saying hi to Marissa and also finishing up by killing Mila.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the real speedrun. Mile % done in like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, is that the audience percent or is it the one that I made up and subsequently we all
sorry,
hated?
Mile %.
Mila percent plus most skills, I
Yeah,
think is the official category name.
and
We get
going
some other
to-
folks on it.
watch nights before Shade Soul and like I
Yes,
actually
we
think I
could-
did more wrong that run than right.
we could
Mhm.
actually see the realization on your face as you fireballed the breakable ceiling towards the chandelier.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait,
Realize
why is
that-
white?
Yeah, I was like, wait, why is this zombie going to Watcher Nights without Shade Soul?
In fact,
Yeah,
you managed to
never-
have really good fights still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
very much
last
so.
Hornet fight was alright. The first 2 I just got jumped on and played like a moron. But yeah.
Yeah, never before that intro to the Watcher Knights fight have I been able to see like emotion through the vessel that is the Hollow Knight. I was like, wow.
Some
But
post-victory hops.
Yeah, more like post getting over that section, just like exasperation. Oh well.
Yeah,
Really
well,
thinking to get the relics to make up for the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had a rough idea. Rando Brain kind of carried. It was just like
Yeah.
executing without being garbage, which I fell remarkably short on. But
Yeah.
it happens.
I for one, as somebody who has watched many a rando match, enjoyed the light rando content from both of you with the relic gathering and base and simple claw.
Mhm.
A throwback to the old days. And there's
Yeah, and then I
Marissa.
nearly lost my Geo in Deepness.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
The
that was
last
was
time I've
terrifying.
fallen in Distant Village was my 38-minute any percent PB about 6 months ago. So, like I say, it's just been a whole day of first.
Just big unlocks the whole way. That's really
Yeah,
tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you
like
did-
most of it wasn't even luck. I just played really badly.
Yeah, if you had not died at all, you would have destroyed me.
Yeah, I made up a bunch of time and then continued to die even more. So
Yeah, that definitely hurt.
yeah, oh, losers run time.
Hmm.
Well, both of you guys gave us a great show, even despite the various pitfalls that were strewn along the way. So thank you much for that.
Yeah, thanks for the match
Yeah.
for sure, though.
Yeah, and thanks comms as well. GG again,
Yeah.
Oko on the PB.
Here comes. Thanks so much. GG's. It
Yeah,
was
thank
very
you,
fun
thanks
to listen
everyone.
Thanks
to.
for watching, and yeah.
GG's.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll close it up from here, but thank you so much, chat and co-com and racers, for giving us a great time, and we'll see you soon for another match of Hollow Knight All Skills.